Heyo, Skycap here. Today we're checking out the Rapoo VT9 Air and VT9 Air Lite. These mice boast the same shape and similar specs, with the Air weighing in at 59 grams and the Air Lite weighing in at 49 grams. Additionally, the Air supports 4K wireless and 8K wired polling rates, while the Air Lite maxes out at 1K polling. Both mice are sporting what Rapoo calls a Pixar 3398 sensor, which is a customized 3395 that allows for lift-off distance adjustments of 1/10 of a millimeter between 1 and 2 millimeters. These two mice share the same shape. They're slightly smaller versions of the VT9 Pro and lighter versions of the VT9 Pro Mini, whose shape they also share. The in-hand feel is like a wider, more angular version of the Lamzu Maya, while the profile also appears similar to the glorious Series 1 Pro. Although, I feel the hump on this mouse is more prominent than on the shapes of the Rapoo mice. Taking a look at the main clicks, these are Omron 60M switches on M1 and M2. While there is some pre-travel on the edge of the shell, there's none where my fingers place, and the clicks feel crisp. The scroll wheel encoder is a Kale switch and has a nice tactile bump. The side clicks are Kale greens, and while the switches themselves feel fine, the side buttons are a pointy, angular shape rather than more common flat or rounded buttons. It's an odd design choice in my opinion, though it does fit the overall design of the mice, which is sharp and angular. I did open up the VT9 Air to take a look at the internals. While I like how the main and side switches are connected to the top shell, I didn't like how the ribbon connecting the switches to the main PCB was taped to the top of the shell. I almost pulled the ribbon connector out when opening it to explore it. It does look like there's some decent potential for modding or swapping switches based on the internal design, if that's something that interests you, though I'm going to leave it as is. Moving on to the stock skates, both mice have low quality PTFE skates pre-installed. Like the rest of the mouse, they have odd angular shapes. The bottom skates surround the outside to make room for the dongle or receiver storage. I kept the stock skates on the Air Lite, and I swapped the Air to X-Ray Pad Jades. The stock skates felt a bit scratchy on both cloth and glass, but nothing that would cause any harm or damage to a pad. After some break-in, they did get noticeably smoother, but still nothing to write home about. The 3398 sensor is a customized 3395 that allows for LOD adjustments of 1/10 of a millimeter between 1 and 2 millimeters. Aside from that, it seems no different from similar 3395 mice in terms of tracking performance. I can't confirm the controller for each of these other than Nordic low power consumption chips, though the Airs is compatible with 4K wireless and 8K wired performance, while the Air Lite is stuck at 1K. The Air also has a large 800 milliamp hour battery that lasts seemingly forever, even at 4K wireless. I still haven't depleted the initial charge. The Air Lite has a much smaller 240 milliamp hour battery, which is a big contribution towards it weighing 10 grams less than the Air. The battery on the Air Lite lasts very close to the rated 48 hours on a full charge, and I have had to recharge it since I started using it. Like the sensor, the software is a customized version of the Nordic chip 3395s that we've become familiar with. Unfortunately, it is a bit heavier and clunkier and has an option to create an account for some reason. Notably, the option to change click debounce is absent, which is surprising. The clicks do feel like they have some debounce, about 4 to 8 milliseconds, compared to mice that can be set to 0, though it isn't anything that'll make a huge difference in game. Rather, it's just annoying to not have the option when the hardware is obviously capable of making these adjustments. While the custom LOD adjustment is a neat feature, I can't think of a use case where 1/10 of a millimeter between 1 and 2 is going to make a difference for tracking. A couple of other things stood out to me about these mice that were cause for concern, in my opinion. The first and biggest thing that stood out to me is the lack of information and support on the Rapoo website. These mice are nowhere to be found on the official webpage, and I could not find mention of them on their official Twitter. I had to scroll back as far as January 2023 to even find a reference to the original VT9. MetKeys sells the Air and has press release style information about the mouse, which seems to be the most legitimate source. There's also retailers on AliExpress where I bought the Air Lite that have some information, but no dedicated product page. I find it weird that they would not promote or feature or highlight their most recent and likely most premium releases. They just seem to be swept under the rug for the most part. Another concern is the fact that each mouse has a separate instance of the same program to tweak the settings. I suppose that's due to a difference in firmware with the different controllers on the mice, though that's still an annoyance. Also, the build quality on my VT9 Air showed some side flex and creaking. While this didn't affect overall use, the shell of my Air Lite seems to be sturdier. Usually this isn't much of a concern, though I paid $37 for the Air Lite versus $63 for the Air. With the weight difference coming solely from the battery size, the shell construction shouldn't be an issue. If I were asked who these mice are for, I would say either enthusiasts who like trying different mice or mice shapes, and those in the market looking for a decent gaming mouse on a budget. While these don't necessarily keep pace with the most premium quality mice, it's fair to say you get what you pay for in the $40 to $60 range. One factor that makes it tougher to recommend these mice is that the Lethal Gaming Gear LA1 is now available for $60 with an additional $17 for the 4K dongle. That mouse offers fantastic value across the board, and now even more so at its reduced price. While the VT9 series falls short of the Mile High Club, they surely have a seat in economy class. Though the software, build quality, and design leave a fair amount to be desired, these mice do reduce the barrier of entry to the world of lightweight options and/or 4K 8K experience. I'd like to thank everyone for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe. Let me know what you liked in the comments. If you hated it, still like and subscribe. Let me know what you didn't like about it. Keep an eye on the channel this month. I got plenty of peripheral content coming your way, and I'll see you soon.